Hello everyone, and welcome to another one of our videos. Please take a deep breath, relax, and enjoy.
What was your "I can't believe that" worked moment when it comes to women? A bunch of us, like 8 of us, were messing around after school. Outside the building, we were just standing around and chatting. Some of us were waiting on parents, others were standing around just because. Pretty tame. Eventually a girl pipes up and says, "Should we all go to a movie or something tonight?" Noticing this was his chance, a guy said, "Nah, but I think just you and me can watch a movie at my place tonight." Without a moment of hesitation, she grabbed his arm and they stared at each other intensely before he starts leading her to his car and they leave without another word. We all just sat there like, well, that happened. I was staying at a resort in Mexico that did romantic dinners on the beach every night. There was a cute girl that worked as one of the entertainment staff members around the pool during the day. I happened to be walking by her while some workers were setting up a table for some couple's romantic dinner, and I randomly said to her, "Hey, look, they're setting up dinner for you and me," and pointed to the table. She laughed and seemed to like the joke. I told her I was going to one of the bars just outside of the resort later that night and told her she could meet me there if she wanted. She agreed, so we exchanged WhatsApp info so we could find each other later that night. She actually showed up and I was blown away at how good she looked and shocked by how different she looked all done up since I was used to seeing her with no makeup and in her work uniform. We hung out at the bar, drank and danced a lot, and she eventually took me to a short-stay hotel near the bar. The hotel was crazy sketchy, but it didn't matter. Had fun. End of exchange year. Been flirting with that girl for a while, and at this huge going away party we start making out. She stops and asks me what are my plans for her, so I just go, "Well, I'm flying off tomorrow and never coming back, so pretty much just a great night of fun." Anyway, she slapped me and left, but her friend came over and said she was up for it. I met this girl in the RPG club at the local uni in August. I invited her to the movies once, but nothing more happened. In September she dated one of my best friends for about 2 weeks. We kept playing RPG, and during one of the last sessions before Christmas, she mentioned that she was staying instead of going home to celebrate with her family. This gave me an idea, so I asked my parents and invited her to celebrate with us. She said yes and ended up staying at my parents' place from Christmas to New Year's. On New Year's Eve we went from friends to dating. This is 24 years ago, we have soon been married for 20 years and have 3 kids. At my first job, a guy flirted with one of the girls there by pretending she was his girl and insinuating that they were screwing. After about a week or 2 of it, I'd caught wind that they were in fact having fun. They were in a full-blown relationship by the time I quit the job. At first she seemed not very happy about it based on words alone, but her reactions were subtly showing that she was into it, and he picked up on this. I once took a younger buddy out drinking. He was 21 and I was 26. He was never in a real bar experience, and kind of shy when it came to the dance floor or talking to women. I told him it wasn't that hard and said, "Just watch." I went up to a woman who was more attractive than me and bought her a drink. I said something to her along the line of, "Hey, my friend is nervous and afraid to talk to women. Do you mind if I get you a drink and keep you company tonight?" A couple hours later we were in a taxi cab back to my place. I'm a perfectly average-looking guy, but when I was in college I had more successes than not with asking a girl I was becoming friends with if they wanted to hook up. We would always agree to go as far as we felt comfortable, no drama after, no lingering feelings, and to stay respectful to each other. I always kept up my end of the bargain. There were probably 5 or so girls who said yes, 1 girl who heard about this and was interested, and only 1 no. Not a terrible strategy. I went out with a girl one evening. I had just spent the day in court for a ridiculous charge I got in college the year prior, so I was wearing my best suit. I also had the worst cough I've ever had in my life to this day, so bad that it caused part of my neck. I was suppressing that cough the whole evening, sick as hell. I had only a quarter tank of gas left and about $15 to my name, but I hadn't considered that beforehand. I took her to a pizza place, very popular place, but I'm not a fan. Although she liked it, paid for her slice and only got a cup for water. Then we went to get frozen yogurt. I paid for her, gratefully, small amount, and barely even got a taste's worth myself. Then we went to the top floor of the parking garage near the frozen yogurt place and just talked and watched all the lights of traffic go by on the freeway at night. So to recap, I'm Allegedly, a minor criminal, she didn't know the cause for court at the time. I'm sick as hell, I'm down to my last dime, I drove in total idiot. I'm barely eating anything, but I just so happen to be wearing a suit and keep my cool, play it safe. I kissed her at the end of the night when I dropped her off back at her place and we've been together ever since, 3 years this past March. My fiancée ran away from me the first time I kissed her. Bear in mind we were both in our 20s. We met up as friends because we worked for the same company in different cities and just got along really well. She was really withdrawn and stopped talking very much after I kissed her. And this all made me think I made a huge mistake and was about ready to apologize and leave when she kissed me and ran away again. She also turned up in what she thought was dressed up, but after she met me the first time realized my definition of dressed up was very different to hers. At the time I always wore at least a long sleeve shirt and boots that wouldn't have looked out of place in an office. It was awkward, but we got along too well for me not to give us a second chance, so we agreed to meet up for an actual date. She turned up looking so stunning it still makes my heart ache to think of her, and literally wouldn't let go of my arm the entire time she was here. Bear in mind the first time I met her she told me she didn't like public displays of affection. Anyway, it's been nearly 5 years now and we are closer than ever. Being locked inside for a year and a half has only really made us closer. I was high out of my mind and flirting with a friend of mine, joking she was my girl and stuff. She was just laughing at the stuff I said, and I couldn't tell if she was feeling it or she just found it amusing, equal probabilities given she was high too. But then she started returning said advances and making some herself. Then I just went for it and joked that we should make out. She was a bit reluctant about it before everyone else started encouraging her, so she just grabbed me and kissed me. My homie walked up to the mall kiosk because we noticed said girl was a looker, and we saw that she kept glancing at him. Girl at mall kiosk says, "How can I help you today?" With a coy smile, and my homie said you could give me your number. How about that? She was on board with that, and I'm pretty sure they messed around for a while. He only did this because another one of her homies dared him to. Back in college, I was going on an evening walk with an attractive housemate. We lived in an intentional community for the summer and we had become friends during that time. And we took a break to sit down and look at the pretty full moon. At which time I casually said that if it wasn't for her boyfriend, I'd totally kiss her. Nothing happened at that very moment, but we arrived home and I went upstairs to get ready to sleep, and she suddenly showed up in my room and climbed into bed. You can imagine how it went from there. It was quite a game changer to realize that fortune favors the bold. I asked a coworker if she wanted to hook up. I was dumb and thought it meant dating. That night I was in bed with her. Sometimes being clueless comes in handy. A group of us went to a bar in college, and one of the guys in the group was a notorious player. On more than one occasion, I had asked him, "Dude, how do you do it? A different one every week?" Fast forward to the bar, and there was a group of like 8 girls drinking and dancing by themselves. My boy just walked up to the whole group of them, flashed a big smile, and said, "So, who here is just looking for some good wiener tonight?" Most of them cringed, one walked away, and one giggled. He zeroed in on the giggler like a cheetah spots a wounded antelope, and ended up taking her back to his apartment. Somewhere along the line, he leaned over to me and whispered, "It's the law of big numbers, dude. A couple of them will think I'm hot, and a couple of them will be horny. If one happens to be both, I'm in." 25 plus years ago. Working as a supermarket cashier. Smoking hot 19-year-old comes up to my register. Way out of my league. I flirt anyway because I'll flirt with anyone. My supervisor sees what's going on and sends me on break. Best wingman ever. I walk her out to the parking lot and she says, "So are you just going to spend all break out here doing nothing, or are you going to ask me for my number?" I ask her for her number, give her a call, and set up a date. I get to her house in my beat-up Hyundai, and see she's living in a house that's easily close to 7 figures, in the 1990s, so God knows what it'll be now. There's 2 BMWs parked in the driveway. I get into the house and see a wall-mounted TV that was going for easily $10,000 back then. So not only is she hot, she comes from money. We went on one date. Had lots of fun that night. Shortly after, she let me know she had met someone at college. I found out later that he also came from money, and the only reason she even hooked up with me was basically slumming it to piss off her dad. Didn't matter. Had fun. After a party, everyone was leaving. Girl calls an Uber, I ask if I can ride share. She says sure, and we get in. She asked where I was going. Turns out she lives in the opposite direction to me. So I just said, yours I guess. She was like, yeah okay, sure. When I turned 21 I had lived a very religious and sheltered life. I started going to clubs in San Diego with a few friends. One of them was a 6 feet 4 inches bouncer who was a serious pickup artist. And was always laughing at me for having zero game. One night he told me he was going to find the finest girl in the whole place, and when he pointed her out I had to walk right up and ask her to dance, or I owed him $100. The girl he found really was the most glamorous woman in the room. No doubt. It turns out she was a local singer, 10 years older than me, and she definitely knew how to make sure she came across as the finest girl in the room. After dancing all night, we ended up leaving together, and living together for about a year. It was a wild ride, but after all these years I still can't believe a geek like me pulled that one off. On a dare. Got drunk, like falling over blacked out day drinking drunk. I was blacked out while the sun was out, it wasn't a good look. Girl wearing a t-shirt with the same band as me was at the bar, I was like cool we should hug. We hugged, she drunk sat me, drove me home, and I was sobering up by the time we got to my place. We hung out and talked, and the subject came up that I thought her ass was magnificent. She was trying to be modest, and I wasn't having it, teasing her a little. And she tries to claim it's her jeans, it's really not that great, and I'm adamant that I disbelieve. Nope, you've got to show me, no pair of pants can make anyone's butt look that great if it's not already great. So, she takes off her pants, and shows me. And I'm just laying there on my bed going I can't believe that worked. A few years later we got married. But we got married by a friend of ours and did the paperwork, and had the wedding separately. The night after doing the paperwork, I was trying to get things going, and she's not having it. Then asking me how it feels to be married, and again I'm teasing her and I'm like we aren't married, it hasn't been consummated. Again this goes back and forth and I'm harping on the point, nope not consummated. She finally decided that she was going to show me what's what. And well, we were definitely married that day, and again I'm laying there just like I can't believe that worked. We've been married 9 years now.
Congratulations, you've made it to the end. We want to thank you again for giving us a few minutes of your time, and we wish you have a great rest of your day, night, or whenever you're watching this. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to subscribe, it really does help us a lot. That's it from me, roll the outro.